Oh, there's one.
There's one. Ooh.
Doubles.
Really bulldogging.
Oh, doubles. Welcome to spring crappie fishing.
Nothing better. I love when they
fun.
just shark on top of the water like that. There we go. Real nice fish there.
Oh yeah, you got a whopper.
Oh yeah.
You got a huge one, and mine is only a really big one. Look at the
Look
size
at how
of that
big
thing.
their bellies are.
That thing is huge. So
Ready
hey,
to pop.
if you have ever fished for these, chances are you've done it in the spring and you've done it with one of these, corks. Corks are an incredibly versatile tool, especially for panfish in the springtime. And that's what Matt and I are doing today. We're fishing a small lake out in western Minnesota in that Alexandria area. And we're looking for some big crappies in the spring. We've done a little homework. It's a small lake. We charted, drove around with our auto chart and marked some spots, and I think we just landed on what's gonna be a big fish spot for crappies and lots of them. So stick with us. This is Crappies on Floats.
Closed captioning is provided by Smooth Moves, adjustable boat seat suspensions for a smoother ride.
There is something special about just sitting and watching a cork like this. You know, this is a lake that I've been on a couple times, and the first time I was out, I spent a lot of time just searching around, driving, and we located this shoreline that had pretty optimal habitat that looked like it'd be good for the fish to come up and spawn. So did our homework and just come, and now just to be able to relax and watch the float and know that's a high percentage confidence area and baits. It's going to be a good rest of the night.
Oh, I'm down, Matt. Oh, and that's another one. It's another one. Not a giant. You know what? We're gonna stay out here
Box that
tonight.
one.
Yeah. So this is about the perfect eating crappie. And we won't have a fish fry tonight, so we're gonna keep some fish, and this is what we're gonna keep. Release the big fish. They're great to recycle for other anglers to catch, and if you're out fishing crappies, this is what you wanna keep and let the big ones go.
Here, let me hit the live well for you there, Jeremy.
Can you open it up too, buddy?
You bet.
All right.
All right.
Basketball. Whoop. Oh, here we go. There we go.
Love watching that rod load up.
It is so stinking fun. I mean, I don't know how to explain it other than fun. I keep saying it's fun, it's fun, it's fun. You know why? Because it is. Fun, fun, fun. Gosh, these things are just awesome. There's quite a bit of them. You can see this guy's got his tuxedo on, as Parker likes to say. He's got those black colors. But you know, you can learn a lot about your quarry with fish. I mean, this is just fishing in general, just based on the morphology of the fish. So you can see, you know, the size of the crappie's eye relative to its head. It's a big eye. So these guys are certainly sight feeders, and they perform well under low light conditions. So crappies have a diet that consists of a lot of small invertebrates. They also eat small minnows, but low light conditions for these fish, just based on the size of that eye and their ability to gather light and outperform their prey under low light conditions, makes them a prime target at dawn and dusk. There you go, dude.
So when you get on a pre-spawn bite like this, the concentrations of fish that you can end up landing on is really phenomenal. You know, we're catching fish just every cast right now, but once they start to spawn, there's only so many spots up there on the shoreline for them to be. So, you know, you can pick them off as you go, but when they're out here on the pre-spawn, man, they can get in big groups and really are easy to catch. There's one right there.
Oh, that was close to the boat too.
Yeah, that one's a little closer to the boat than the other ones have been, but.
Oh, I got one. You still got one? So we can call this a double. This one feels a little better, Matthew. Man, they're just loaded. So many people get jacked up about fishing crappies when they're up on their nests, which of course is a good time, getting to sight fish and see fish like this hit a bait. And you can see, as dark as this one is, he's getting ready to spawn, but it's not quite spawn time yet. And pre-spawn for any fish can just be dynamite. So these fish right now, I'm guessing this has got some bog, the shoreline, and there's some bulrush, some wood in the water. So they'll come up around here and they'll end up making beds and spawning. But right now it's a sharp drop to the basin. it's got good cabbage, vertical cabbage. I mean, good standing cover in 6 to 8 feet of water. If you find that stuff in the spring, it's a magnet for crappies, it's a magnet for sunnies. It's also great for pike, bass, and walleyes. So look for that kind of stuff. Nice hard bottom on the shoreline, little roll, 6, 8 feet, it's got good cover, and that's where we're catching the panfish. Not up in the shallow on that first lip and that standing cover.
This segment is brought to you by Big Bite Baits, designed to bring the big bite to your line.
I'm gonna cast this way this time just 'cause I
Oh,
don't
there's
wanna
one. Oh, and it's another nibble. It is crazy. Catching springtime crappies. And what's so great about it is the system, of course, is so darn simple. Now there's a lot of floats that you can choose from. Nice little crappie. Actually, we'll keep that one.
Here we go, Jeremy.
You know, like I was saying, this is such a simple system. Typically, it involves a jig, and I love the VMC Moon Eye. If you haven't fished these, you'll fall in love with them. It's got a cool head design. It's that aspirin head, so it's super versatile, but it's also got a dynamite hook for holding on to these things. But then when it comes to the cork side, there's so many different options on what to choose for a cork. So we're gonna share with you why certain corks perform better in certain situations. When it comes to floats or corks, there are basically two different styles. One is a slip and one is a clip. Today we're using the classic clip float. This works best when you're fishing sparse submerged cover. We simply clip out a measured amount of line. In this case, the jig is roughly 3 to 4 feet below the float. This allows you to work the bait back and it will stay at that predetermined depth. The slip float, on the other hand, works its best in heavy emergent cover. The compact system lands into tough to reach places and the jig drops directly below the float. Like we said earlier, crappies can be low light feeders, and that's when a lighted bobber comes into play. The VMC lighted float is water activated. This is the perfect slip float for any situation, sun up to sundown.
You know, as a guy that works in a school system as an educator, I know the value of putting in your work. My family will be coming out this weekend to stay with me, and fishing a cork with my young kids is a great way to introduce kids. And mother-in-law is going to be coming up too, you know, father-in-law. They don't do a lot of fishing, but you know, you get an opportunity to teach the simple basic mechanics of casting with something that's a little heavier like a cork, and get them into the simple concept of a hook set also, something that you can teach when the bobber starts going down a lot easier than you can on a moving bait. So bobber fishing is definitely a great way to introduce people to fishing. It was the way I was introduced. I'm sure it was the way Jeremy was introduced to pan fishing as well. So,
oh, and there's one. It is literally every cast. Every single cast. That's a small guy, but hey, that's all you need for a fish sandwich right there. I'm telling you, Matt and I and Dan, who's shooting this right now, can get by with a half a dozen crappies this size. That'll feed us tonight with a few potatoes. You don't need to kill 30 fish for the 3 of us. 6 of these, perfect.
I always operate under the impression of, if I'm gonna harvest these fish, I wanna get the greatest yield that I can. So we're gonna take an opportunity here to show you some of the finer points of how to get the greatest yield off your harvest.
Panfish are great table fare. Crappies such as these 10.5 to 11-inch crappies are the perfect size for eating. You know, we sort of recommend when you're out fishing for big panfish, whether it's crappies or bluegills, you let the big adults go, keep some medium-sized fish for eating, and that helps keep the population stable. But oftentimes when you're cleaning fish of this size, electric knives don't always get the best yield from the meat. So I prefer to use just a regular blade fillet knife, and what I'm going to do is use a 4-inch bladed knife, which helps a lot for just moving around these smaller fish, getting around the ribs and up the backbone and stuff. So basically it's just your standard filleting method. You take the knife, put it under the fins, and you cut down to the backbone all the way up to the top of the head. Then you run the knife along the top of the fin here, and then what I do is go back and have the knife tip in all the way, and you're just running it along the top of the rib cage. You can feel it going along the rib cage. Peel the meat back. You stick the knife all the way through towards the tail here and run it through. And then all you're doing is taking the little fillet knife along the top of the ribs, and you're peeling as you fillet down. And there is a perfect fillet. By cleaning fish this way, you maximize the amount of meat you get off of the fish when you fillet them. So then I will use a 6-inch blade, just because these fillets are a little wider and the 4-inch doesn't go all the way across. So the 6-inch blade allows you to just totally sweep the meat right off the skin. The last step I like to do is along the top of where the rib cage was, there's a row of bones. People call them pin bones, but they're actually called epipleural bones. And in a fish this size, they won't fry out. So the easiest thing to do is feel them with your finger. Take the knife on either side, you just make a thin little strip cut. Remove this little chunk of meat, and there's your finished fillet.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
So I'm gonna scoot down a little bit. The boat control we've got is just incredible. So right now the wind is at our back, and the easiest way for us to position the boat is for me to use the talon, the shallow water anchor in the back. So what I'll do, going down this break here, I'll just scoot us forward, I'll let the boat drift a little bit, and I'll talon. We'll make a number of casts, we'll find where the school is. Once we burn the fish out, all I've got to do, push a button on my little foot pad here, I lift the talon up, we get into another wad of fish, push a button here, drop the talon down, and we put the smack on them. It's awesome. Oh.
Now there's a sign of spring right there.
Nice.
Watching that cork go down, pre-spawn crappies, to me that's just as good a sign of spring as lilacs blooming.
That's a huge one, man.
Yeah, go ahead and put that one in the sack for me, bud.
That is big,
Oh yeah.
That's what we came out here for. Sweet.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep. Oh, part doubled up. Doubled up. Oh, this one's not quite as big as yours, buddy. There we go. How about that? Nice crappie. I want to share with you what the system that we're using for catching these crappies. So it's pretty simple. You can really get away with pan fishing if you're fishing with 7-foot rod is an ideal length for this. This happens to be St. Croix's Panfish series of rods. This is a 7-foot light, extra fast. The ultimate panfish rod that I've ever encountered. You can get away with that same action that you'd use for live bait fishing for walleyes. Now, one thing that I'll say is key to pan fishing, and I think, in my opinion, has revolutionized pan fishing, is the line. This is Suffolk's Nano Braid. You can cast tiny baits a mile. You can fish in heavy cover like you would for bass and cut through this stuff. So I fish 6-pound on all my panfish stuff. Then of course I've got this on a little Daiwa Revros. This is a very affordable reel, but you don't have to deal with bad line management issues. There's no wind knots with this deal. The drag is smooth. This system is all you need to catch lots and lots of crappies.
Such a wide variety of artificials available to fish underneath floats. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's available.
Jigs come in all different sizes, shapes, and profiles, and not any one is right or wrong. When it comes to pre-rigged jigs and soft plastics, the VMC flap tail is a great option. The little beaver tail shape on the jig moves with the slightest bit of motion and triggers finicky fish into biting. If you're gonna rig your own jig, the VMC Moon Eye is my favorite. I love the Big Bite Bait crappie minnow rigged on the back. This plastic has a very thin tail that teases crappies into striking. When it comes to hair or flashabou, VMC makes a marabou jig that breathes in the water with the slightest motion. And the Hot Skirts jig has flashabou fibers that pick up the slightest light and attracts bites. All 4 of these jigs can be players at this pre-spawn time frame, and you have to try all 4 to let the fish tell you what they want. In many instances, one will outproduce the other 5 to 1, so you're gonna need to be prepared with everything.
You know, that nano braid that we're using today is sure a superior product. The way that you're able to tighten up on the fish when you're able to cast these corks a mile out.
Oh, like that?
Just like that. But how tight you can get on the fish with that braid.
It is amazing. You know, and the thing with cork fishing, you've done it too.
Ooh,
in the
let
spring.
me get that one in the sack for you,
it's a
Jeremy.
nice one. The chances are, if you're in the spring, out here in the spring, you've dealt with wind before. And that's one thing about having braided line is you're gonna have a bow in your line from the wind no matter what you do. And being able to just reel down quickly and get hooks into the fish with that braid, as long as you start to get the rod loaded, these little fine wire hooks are gonna find their way into the mouth of the crappie. So braid is not only huge for cutting through cover, casting further, but also because you're dealing with wind, it helps you get the hooks into fish when you've got that bow in your line and you're fishing in the wind. Gosh, those are nice fish, man. Aren't they beautiful? Such a spectacular critter. I don't know anybody that doesn't love the opportunity to go catch crappies, man. I don't care if you're a musky fisherman or a bass head. You get on a hot bite where your cork goes down, it's just straight up a good time. I don't care what you say.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
Oh, I did get him. Kind of doing the snap jig in there. Oh, it's just
Hopping it in place?
hopping in
Ooh,
place.
that's a
Oh,
big
it's just
one.
another huge one. Just, whoa, he's a leaper. He's a leaper. He thinks he's a largemouth. Oh, yes you do, yes you do. This is a sweet little net for this deal. It folds up and I just keep it in the boat for all times. A lot of my friends make fun of me. They say I've got a little butterfly net in here, but I'm telling you, man, this thing is so handy. I've put big walleyes in here. Of course, it's great for panfish like this. Put whatever in there. If you need a net, it's out of the way. Sweet, it's just a nice little net. Mr. Crappie, see, dude. Gotta get more, gotta get more. Another one, another one. Just one more. Oh, there he is. Oh. This one feels nice, Matthew. Felt nicer, now he's getting smaller, but I think, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah. Gosh. Just drilling them. I've been in Matt's position before, where you're in the back of the boat and the guy in the front is really being a meat hog. I have to confess, I am kind of being a meat hog. I'm taking all these choice spots, but you know what the deal is he's casting in front of me anyway, so I'm like, well, why wouldn't I?
There we go, bobber down. I just had to wait for Jeremy to get out of the water to get an opportunity to get in. This is a really, really dark fish. He is definitely ready for some warm weather to come up and do his deal. Look at how dark that one is.
Oh, it's just dubs. It's just dubs.
Yep.
Oh, mine came off. I got caught in the weeds.
Super black fish. I guess this is where they get the name as a black crappie, huh, Jeremy?
Yeah, right?
Come on, baby.
Come on, big fish. Oh, oh, oh. That's what I mean, having that braid is just huge. And a lot of times when I set the hook on these crappies, I'm not like, you know, setting. I'm kind of pulling the rod and I'm reeling as fast as I can. The whole idea is first, get the slack out of your line and let the rod start to load, and bingo. This is a nice one, but oh, actually I should have probably netted that one. That's a really nice fish. Check those out. Isn't that everybody's dream, to go find these little tiny lakes that are loaded with big panfish like that? And the whole key to finding these places is that if you go there and you participate in fishing and catch fish like this, is let the nice fish go. Don't overharvest. Letting the right fish, you know, the good sized fish go is totally the key to good management and an awesome future fishery.
And just the other day, I was doing a radio interview with a guy I've known for many, many years. And one of the questions he asked me, he says, Al, why do you keep doing what you're doing? And I thought about it for about 3 seconds. And I said, because I don't know how to really do anything else. There's 2 important parts of my daily life besides my family. And it's fishing, the fishing industry, and the Word of God, the Bible. And both of these elements, fishing in the industry and the Word, are part of my every single day life. And I share it in all these closings on the television shows. Since day one, I've combined both of them with real life experiences of other people and myself. And I get numerous emails in notes and letters and comments like this. The vast majority of them are uplifting. And that keeps me going. It's really what motivates me. I want to read one of them to you. I kind of going to take snippets out of it so it don't take so long. I met you one time in 1999 in Sioux Falls, Ontario at the Maple Leaf Motel. You and Ron were there to fish a smallmouth tournament over the Labor Day weekend. I was there muskie fishing. One of the nights at the hotel, I remember you witnessing to me and gave me your testimony on how Christ changed your life. You likely would never remember me, but I never forgot what you said about Christ being the best thing that ever happened to you. He saved your life. I devoted my life to Christ and was baptized on July 3rd. I no longer live the life I lived before. I'm close to finishing my ordination to be a pastor in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and have been discipling other men to know the Lord and Savior through sharing the great outdoors like yourself. I just wanted to reach out and thank you for your obedience. You're a great inspiration and fellow brother in Christ. My 4 children also love to watch your fishing show and are avid anglers themselves. I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and may God bless you richly now and in eternity. Lord bless Dean Kramer. All I can tell you, this isn't giving me a big head. I'm not here to pat myself on the back. It's things like this and a whole lot more that keep me going. This is why I do what I do, and in many cases, why I close these shows the way they are. The impact that I've been blessed and fortunate enough to put into people's lives, I don't take lightly. I take that responsibility seriously. Hey, from all of us here at The Edge, you have a good fishing season. We'll see you in the water.